Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads out there in the world of smoking big fat doinks? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman?
Hello, Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
I am fantastic.
I love it. I love the new word you're using. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, how was your week so far going, Mrs. Weedman? You doing well? Doing fantastic? Doing great? Anything new?
Yeah. No.
No?
Just the time is changing. We're going into fall.
Oh, yeah, it was dark
It's
at
making
7:30.
me sad. The sun is going down sooner. The air is getting cooler.
Mm.
I love fall. Don't get me wrong, but I don't love winter.
Nobody
And
in
that's
Illinois
next.
loves winter. Well, I wouldn't say nobody, but people do like the
It's
snow.
just like, I can tolerate December. And then January is like, it's all right. And then by February, you're like, get this freaking show on the road. Let's get some warm weather here. And then it doesn't happen until like May.
Well, it's still hot, dry. Couldn't ask for better weather
It's
right
beautiful
now.
right
It
now.
is gorgeous here in Illinois. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but right now the weather is mighty fine. Light that joint up.
Oh, are we ready?
We're kind of ready.
Are we smoking your stuff?
We're smoking the Weed Man Majin Fujita.
Which is not completely cured yet.
Right.
So for newbies, that is this phase of like getting the final phase of like finishing the bud for consumption. So it sits in these mason jars. It is temperature controlled, moisture controlled, and the jars have to be opened each day to release any moisture that might build up in there.
Burp.
You burp the bottles, burp the baby bottles
Burp them.
until they're ready. So we're smoking this before it's completely ready, but
It's
we've
been
tried
fire.
It.
I gave a small jar to Mr. G, who's been on the show, and he called me today.
Did he like it?
He loved it.
Did he?
He was high.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was
Oh, it
fire.
gets you high. It just doesn't last as long.
No, it's
Yet.
not,
Not
yet. I mean,
Oh,
little
sorry.
ash.
little ash.
Well, everybody, hope everyone is doing awesome out there in the world. We love you all, and we're praying for the world and what's going on right now. And just keep chill, smoke a lot of doinks. But it is September, and September is Suicide Prevention Month. And like we talked about on the last episode, if you're struggling or you know somebody who's struggling, reach out. Mrs. Weedman is dying over there.
You're talking about something serious, and I'm trying not to interrupt.
I'm sorry, everybody.
But I'm dying. Okay. Don't let me start the joint next time. All right, finish your talk.
Hold on. Before I go on with this, we have to get our composure for everybody because it was pretty funny.
But then I'm also concerned because the joint is lit, like half of it's lit, and I got to balance that out.
Balance it.
It's going to be a canoe. We'll talk about that later in the show. Okay.
Oh, you're going to be baked. I love it. It's on fire. Blow it out first before we...
I think I'm a newbie. Here, Mr. Weedman, smoke.
All right.
So, Mr. Weedman was talking about suicide.
You read.
September is Suicide Prevention Month. And if you know someone who is struggling, or if you are struggling, please reach out. 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can get help if you feel desperate, if you feel lost, if you feel like there's no hope. Dial 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. 1-800-273-8255. There is someone that will listen to you, always. There really is.
Yeah.
So,
What else? It's also something started yesterday, today. What started? There was another something special we talked about.
We also have Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yes. You want to know about that?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I see the flags all over right now on
all
every
over
truck.
Chicago. Yep, all over
been great.
Chicago. There's flags. I've even seen like some pretty cool, almost like car wraps, but they're fabric. So it goes over the hood of someone's car like a piece of nylon.
Yeah, those are pretty
and
cool.
it's the flag. Pretty cool. Seen those all over. I've seen rear view mirror covers that are flags.
Yep.
So people are very creative. Well,
Go ahead.
A little background on Mexican Independence Day. It is a public holiday, the National Day of Mexico, and it is celebrated on September 16th, today. And also, it is known as Dia de la Independencia, or Grito de Dolores. It marks the anniversary of the Mexican War of Independence against Spain on September 16th, 1810. So I imagine that will be celebrated throughout the month. I think we started seeing cars
over the weekend.
Yeah, like maybe even a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
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 Like probably at the start of September we started seeing people.
It's
So,
awesome. I mean, to see that and just, you know, our Mexican brothers and sisters out there. If it wasn't for you, the United States wouldn't have weed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have weed. And Harry Asslinger is an asshole. And racism, don't forget that. Your history in cannabis is strong. Mexico needs to legalize it finally. Get it all going out there. I've worked with some of the finest people from Mexico my whole life. I love the culture. I love the music. I love some of the dancing that I've seen in bars that I've worked at, and we've done, you know, music nights like that. I mean, the culture, and just like I said, some of the finest people ever. Great food, great, just amazing culture. So happy Mexican Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, Latinx Heritage Month. We love you all out there. Keep on smoking fine mota.
Ole.
Should we start the show?
Let's do it.
Let's get it rolling.
Let's go.
Even though I didn't roll the joint, I stuffed the joint.
Yeah, we're lazy. Neither of us knows how to roll a good joint.
Terrible. For as long as I've been smoking cannabis.
That's okay. That's what they make cones for.
For as long as I've been smoking cannabis, I've never been a good roller of a joint. I've tried, but like I talked about before, I can't tie a balloon either. So if that makes any sense, that means I just not really just well
Can you
rolling.
tie a cherry nut in your mouth? Can you tie a cherry stem into a knot in your mouth?
I could do something better with my tongue, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, I can tie a cherry stem in my mouth.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, yeah, you can. 100%. I've seen you do it.
Yeah.
I've tried.
How did we get there? What are we talking about?
Your tongue?
No.
My tongue?
That is not what we started talking about. Oh my God, where get back to whatever you were supposed to talk about.
We were supposed to start the show.
Oh, I know.
Are we starting it?
I'm high.
Already?
Oh yeah.
You took a
I
fucking
took a rip.
monster of a rip. And you know what? You did light it perfectly because it didn't canoe. So you're
Yeah.
good. You're 100% good. And I didn't have to put no spit on it to stop it from canoeing.
What was that? Here's the news with Gary Canoe. Do you
No,
canoe?
no,
Canoe,
it's-
canoe?
no,
Can you canoe?
All right, for all you young folk out there.
Gnip-gnop. Do you remember the game Gnip-gnop?
No.
Oh, you don't?
Nope.
No shit.
I don't
really?
remember
It
it.
was fun.
Well,
you'll
I
have to
remember
look it
Gary Gnu.
Gnip-gnop.
Do you remember Gary Gnu?
Who's news with Gary News?
No news is good news.
Until you know Gary News.
Gnu. Now now us old folk, us
that from,
us
like-
Generation Xers, the Great Space Coaster
Oh,
was
shit.
the name of the show.
Great Space
Space Coaster,
Coaster,
get on board. Wow.
Wow.
That was old.
All right.
Sorry for all you young
Just look up.
out
Just
there.
go to YouTube and find
The Great Space
and then you're gonna be
Coaster,
like,
and look
These
up-
people watch this
Look
shit?
up Gary
we did.
Gnu. That's like the early stoner shows.
Remember-
like stoner, like
Do you remember?
that was 60s, 70s where people were smoking cannabis and writing this stuff, and it was amazing to see like early like
Okay, this
burner
was
stoner
another crazy
pothead
one.
stuff.
It was a hotel, the Giggle Snort Hotel,
You're a giggle snort.
and the hotel concierge was a glob of clay on like a pedestal. And the
Oh, I remember
only
that
the
show.
innkeeper was not a puppet. Everything else was puppets.
I remember that show.
And he'd wheel the pedestal with the glob of clay around, and he'd put like kind of like Mr. Potato Head parts on it, and then the clay would talk, and he'd be like, "Who's in room 20 tonight?" And all sorts of crazy shit. And he'd have to like evict people out of their hotel rooms, and then he'd melt back down into a blob.
What was the name of the show?
The Giggle Snort Hotel,
Hotel.
maybe.
For all you out
Like
there.
Saturday morning cartoons.
It made
And
me
if you
giggle,
slept
it
a
made
half
me
hour
snort.
too late, you missed them all. That happened a lot. Like, damn.
Oh my gosh, that's too good.
Okay,
Back to the
Back to the
present.
show.
Back to the present.
let's go.
Is HHC a new cannabinoid 1,000 times stronger than THC, and should it go to market? A novel cannabinoid entered the public cannabis market for the first time anywhere recently, landing in Colorado. I'm going to butcher this word. You taught me how to say it earlier. Hydrogenated THC, known as HHC, was previously and is possibly still restricted from any market due to patents and laws. Variations of HHC are even 1,000% stronger than THC, plus production often uses heavy metals despite these considerations. HHC vape carts hit the market without an accredited certified of analysis COA or toxicity data. Where does HHC come from? HHC is an acronym for hydrogenocannabinol, adding hydrogen atoms to THC molecules. A process known as hydrogenation creates it. Converting liquid vegetable oils into margarine, for example, uses a similar process. I didn't know that.
Hydrogenated oils.
None.
But now they're making a hydrogenated oil out of something natural.
Yeah?
Why?
Let's read. A misconception grows in that there is more than one kind of HHC. For a start, hydrohydrocannabinol was initially noted in patents by Roger Adams, U.S. 2419937A, the first chemist to identify CBD. Moving forward, there are more basic hydrogenated forms of HHC, alpha and beta HHC. These compounds were initially discovered in the 1970s by scientists attempting to modify THC and to conduct early studies on the endocannabinoid systems. So they were learning about the endocannabinoid system back in the 70s, where Pfizer's developed another derivative of HHC in the 1980s. Pfizer, who just made the shot for COVID. They're one of there's Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, right? So Pfizer identified this back in in the early 80s. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Additionally, Mark Scaladone, PhD, owns a patent that covers the more novel parent molecules, HTHC and 2-HM-HHC. Overall, there are well over a dozen different forms of this unusual cannabinoid. Compared to THC, every variation of HHC has two more hydrogen atoms in the leftmost ring of the molecule. Beyond this, HHC is shy by one pair of electrons because the additional hydrogen displaces a crucial double electron bond in the eastern ring. So nerdy. The general characteristics only define the chemical structure, not the effects that each molecule has on the human body. Is HHC the opposite of CBN? CBN is that new cannabinoid we've been talking about a lot. It's great for sleep. It's a downer. It's also made by when your cannabis gets older, let's just say. Not bad, older. The THC cannabinoid starts degrading and then turns into CBN. So it's not bad. It's just a totally different cannabinoid. It forms by age. So you get like that down, real mellow. Remember on the 2 episodes ago, I thought that one bud we smoked was from like a year ago, which it was. So I think we were so down. I think it had more CBN than THC, and it started degrading. So that's a little science for you. Sorry, y'all. I asked Marcus Rajan, PhD, president of CSO of Delic Labs, about side reactions in extracts, such as formations of CBN. Oxygen can be incorporated into the extraction, which can cause the THC to degrade into CBN and other unique cannabinoids. Degradation occurs when hydrogens are stripped off of the THC molecule by oxygen atoms in the process called oxidation. Rather than strip hydrogens away from THC, a processor must add hydrogens to make HHC, a reaction called hydrogenation. Hydrogenation is the opposite of oxidation, so hydrogenation is actually a reduction of the molecule. Labs use metals to make HHC. Dr. Rogan noted that you do not have reducing environments in normal extraction techniques. In fact, metal catalysts are used to ensure THC is reduced to HHC. So, no HHC is not a molecule you'll stumble upon in cannabis production normally. The reaction required is to get it to as so far away from the one do-in cannabis production site that there is no overlap. My goodness. You're shaking your head, right? Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Our guts are capable of reducing HHC into hydroxyl HHC, a super potent edible theory. After an edible is eaten, it will pass through the gut into the liver. We've talked about this before. Generally, some of it is destroyed, but any THC that arrives in the liver is faced with the enzymes that can change its molecular structure. Commonly, the hydroxyl form of THC, known as 11-OH-THC, is discussed as part of the edible psychoactive outcome. This is because enzymes in the digestive system hydroxylate THC into 11-OH-THC. What?
That is so much information.
I'm so glad I'm baked, though, to do this, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to, rhyme this while I'm, it's the only way I can do it is, sing it in my head and talk, because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be able to get through these articles, because some of them are long and hard. Comparatively, the digestive system can naturally reduce HHC into alpha and beta HHC molecules via biological hydrogenation. It should be noted that different species of animals metabolize HHC into different levels of alpha and beta HHC. Hydrogenation, which is the addition of hydrogen atom H+, whereas hydrolation of cannabinoids occurs when hydroxyl group OH replaces a methyl group CH3. The processes are far different, although the same cannabinoid can be modified both ways. Spice, morphine, and superagonist where cannabinoid reductions hide. Edible cannabis has been reported to be more potent in some individuals because of the levels of 11-OH-THC. They produce a hydrolyzed cannabinoid. But what about the alpha and beta HHC? Does the gut reduce more basic HHC into super potent hydrogenated molecules? Hydrogenated cannabinoids produced by Pfizer took up a notorious and widely discussed role decades after the development. The synthetic cannabinoid blend Spice is comprised of the beta HHC derivatives the pharmaceutical giant developed in the 80s. Did you just hear what I just said?
In the 80s.
In the 80s, they developed Spice. Pfizer. Hold on, I have to take a sip of water on that one. All right, you ready? To no one's surprise today, a study conducted on mice in 1977 that D9, delta 9 THC, is not as potent as morphine and in regards to pain relief. Beta HHC, on the other hand, was equipotent as morphine, but with significant differences in their effects. Old data suggests that beta HHC is 1,000 times more potent than delta 9 THC. So, should untested hydrogenated cannabinoids sell on the open market in vape pens, gummies, and creams?
I don't think so.
So, selling HHC before accredited test. Let's pretend studies exist to ensure the synthetic cannabinoid is safe, and each form of HHC in the product carries an ISO-accredited COA. In this hypothetical case, the discussion of HHC boils down to ethics. Yet we need to back up safety studies and ISO-accredited COAs, since neither quality assurance exists for HHC in humans beyond analytical data. This is critical because ISO-accredited lab tests ensures a product can be safe. The position of each double bond defines a molecule effects on the identity of the compound. For example, CBN is approximately 25% as potent as THC. And remember that difference between THC and CBN is a loss of hydrogens. So if we take THC and hydrogens, then we have a drastically different molecule that needs further testing to understand its safety profile. CBN, when you see doses of CBN in the market out there right now, you're seeing a very, very moderate dose versus THC. So you're seeing like a 5-to-1 on most brands, or you're seeing a 5-to-2 is the highest I've seen on CBN versus THC. A 5 on the THC and a 2 milligram of CBN. So it's 5 milligrams of THC, 2 milligrams of CBD, or 1 milligram of CBD. Very low dose. I have heard high doses of CBN, like very high doses, too much for your body causes nightmares and trauma. So remember that. Don't overdose on CBN. Keep it moderate, just like a ratio. You want a good ratio of that THC to CBN. Don't overdo it on the CBN. It is good, but in littler amounts. That's just what I've heard. Hydrogenated cannabinoids have been studied on mice, and this research suggests that HHC is a promising cancer treatment. Okay. Spice is technically a super agonist that oversaturates the endocannabinoid system, a problem for addiction and dependency. If a proper lab test does not exist, how can you ensure that HHC in the vape pen is not completely unknown and synthetic super agonist rather than the more simple reduction of THC? Remember that you never know what you're buying on the street or in like gas stations or anything like that. Don't be fooled by the snake oil salesman. Conclusively, unmodified plant compounds produced purely by natural creations of the earth might not be safe, but they are different than novel drug substances. A new cannabinoid created by synthesis of heavy modification, whether it's HHC or any new drug, should have multiple years of data behind it before any public sale. That was fucking amazing and very hard to read, but I'm telling you what, you just got to be careful and know what you're taking. Another article someone asked me about, another question. What are full-spectrum cannabis extracts, and how are they made? So there's a lot of stuff you're seeing out there on labels called full-spectrum extracts, full-spectrum edibles, full-spectrum the way it's processed. So I want to go through this with everybody so you understand what full-spectrum is when you're seeing these on labels of products, when you're talking to bud tenders, so you are educated yourselves. Full-spectrum extracts, often called whole plant extracts, maintain the full profile of the cannabis plant. They contain a variety of cannabinoids, including THC, THCA, which is A stands for the acid, CBD, CBDA, CBG, and CBN, as well as terpenes and other compounds such as flavonoids, proteins, phenols, sterols, and esters. These extracts are desirable for several reasons. From an experimental standpoint, they replicate the flavor and aroma profile of the plant. From a therapeutic and medicinal standpoint, you get the full benefits of the entourage effect. The theory that the various components of the plant work synergistically to enhance the actions of the active substances, such as THC and CBD.
Whoa. That's cool.
Full-spectrum extracts are notoriously difficult to produce. While you need to keep as many of the desirable compounds as possible, you also want to rid the extract of unnecessary components. Such extraction methods filter the latter out using a variety of refinement techniques. However, those very techniques often strip extracts of some of the more delicate compounds, such as terpenes and flavonoids.
I would just leave it.
Methods used to produce full-spectrum extracts. The process used to create full-spectrum extracts must dance a fine line to keep the wanted compounds and the unwanted out. Note that the full spectrum of compounds of a given strain is relative to the point at which the extraction is performed. For example, a live resin extract taken from a fresh plant will have a different profile than an extract of dried plant material. This is because some compounds change during the drying process. What's more, the profile of a plant can depend on various other factors, including the part of the plant, its age, environmental factors. As such, you could have a multiple full-spectrum extracts of the same strain that all have different profiles. Interesting. Hydrocarbon extraction. Hydrocarbon extraction uses butane or butane-propane blend to create full-spectrum extracts. This method allows for the profile of the extract to be tweaked. In the type of extraction, hydrocarbon gas is cooled and liquefied before being passed over raw plant material. The desirable compounds from the plant are dissolved, and the resulting solution is refined using various techniques, such as winterization and dewaxing. Both of these processes use additional solvents and low temperatures to remove wax and lipids from the final product.
Ew.
Full-spectrum extracts can be finicky. so the process parameters must be exact. Small changes in the solvent composition and temperature can result in a different product. For example, a small increase in temperature might volatilize certain terpenes, changing the flavor profile of the extract. Remember I always say about when I smoke distillate or I smoke some cartridges, I always taste the butane. It's like I'm sensitive to metal and I'm sensitive to the taste of the chemicals, and I can always taste butane. And maybe because I smoked cigarettes and always lit through a lighter, I'm very sensitive to it because I've tasted it so many times. That's why I'm not a big pen fan of distillate. That's just me. I love live resin cartridges, but especially I just rather smoke hash out of a pen, hash oil, straight pureness of it, just because I don't like the taste of butane. Nothing wrong with it. It's butane that you can actually ingest. It's ingestible butane, so you're not like taking lighter fluid in your body. Let's go on. Supercritical CO2 extraction. In supercritical CO2 extraction, temperature and pressure are used to create phase changes in CO2. It goes from being a gas to displaying properties of both a gas and a liquid. It has a gas-like viscosity and low surface tension, so it more easily penetrates porous solids than a liquid does. This results in a substance that forces out compounds of plant matter based on their weights. By adjusting the temperature and pressure, you can tune the CO2 to create a very precise environment, whereby the supercritical fluid will only extract the most desirable components. While CO2 extraction involves complex pieces of equipment, it requires little or no post-processing, unlike other extraction methods. Then there's pressure. The idea behind full-spectrum extracts is that its unwanted components are removed. For example, some plant lipids can lead to poor flavor or a harsh vapor. That said, certain concentrates containing less lipids, such as rosin, are sometimes considered full spectrum. Rosin is made by squeezing resin from the starting material, such as dry sift, using heat and pressure, often with special rosin presses, which I want to buy one. The main benefit here is that processing doesn't require the use of a solvent and is relatively safe. However, because heat is involved, there is concern that some of the desirable components of the plant, such as terpenes, are lost in the process. Finding full-spectrum cannabis products. There is little regulation to determine what constitutes a full-spectrum extract, and some products are labeled as such even when they don't meet the general definition. The only real way to tell is to examine the lab test results for the extract. Here are some product names to look out for when selecting a full-spectrum extract. Live resin is produced using fresh, sometimes frozen cannabis plants instead of dried plant material. Not all live resins are full-spectrum extracts, and their composition will depend on how they are processed. If they extracted using one of the above methods, they could obtain a full-spectrum extract. But, for example, if you use a process that involves heat, you'll lose certain compounds from the plant profiles, such as terpenes. High terpene full spectrum extracts, HTFSE. The extraction process for this product is designed to yield a high level of terpenes, sometimes up to 40%. It is viscous and clear with a consistency similar to honey. Ooh. Sometimes HTFSEs are labeled as sauce or terp sauce, names that include the high terpene content. However, not all sauce is full spectrum. Dovboy and I love to swim in the sauce. Just so you all know, don't forget that. We love the sauce. High cannabinoid full spectrum extracts, HCFSE. For HCFSE process are tweaked so that the final product has a high cannabinoid concentration. The result is crystalline structure, similar to sugar or diamonds. I was just talking to somebody who was smoking some diamonds. He said he was whacked. Although HTFSE and HCFSE can be produced from the same plant, they are both considered full-spectrum extracts since they still contain the full roster of desirable compounds present in raw material, albeit at different levels. That was a lot. Do you want to go for a minute? I still have like two more to talk about what I've been talking about. Can you take over for a sec?
I can. I'm going to tell you this. I'm really high. I have not been able to pay attention to anything you've said.
That's a lie. That's
Is
a
it?
lie.
It
You
is?
stopped a couple of times, so you lie.
So I phased in and phased out, right? Something would catch my attention. I thought about all sorts. I was going to save the world for a minute. I was going to invent something for a minute. I've been to a lot of places in the last. How long have you been reading? Like an hour?
It feels like it.
I feel like it.
No.
I went.
No, I've only been reading for like 20 minutes.
Oh, well, I went a lot of places in that 20 minutes, but I'm back.
So do you want to go for a minute?
I would say I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm
right.
just regrouping because I feel very energetic from this weed, and maybe on the cusp of silly. Very heady, like thinky, but it's okay.
So can I
it's
say
good,
something
right?
though?
Yeah.
Can I say something
Yeah.
about this weed? You know this is Majin Fujita, right?
It's sativa.
Yeah, but the strain is called Majin
Yes.
Fujita. Okay,
He puts his hand out like a Powerball.
that's
right?
Goku. So
Oh, he boxes.
hold on,
Mm-hmm.
hold on. So the strain you're smoking is Majin Fujita. He has a special move called the Gallic Gun.
Well, I could probably do that right
You
now.
got Gallic gunned. That's what you got.
What do I have to do?
You got his special laser move called the Gallic Gun. You got Gallic gunned. You're done.
That's it. That's it. So here we go.
So
What?
there's a lot of plastic in the world.
Fuck yeah.
Too much, right?
Way too much.
Can hemp make a difference?
Well, that's a hopeful thought, right? Hemp makes great plastic. So why isn't hemp plastic everywhere? So we've got an article here about hemp and how it could change the scene, right? Plastic is an inescapable part of our everyday lives. So why is almost all of it still made from polluting, non-renewable petrochemicals? Could we replace fossil fuel-based plastic with hemp? You may have heard that agricultural hemp, the non-mind-altering cousin of cannabis, has dozens of potential uses from clothing to paper. Since virtually all climate scientists agree that we must replace our dependence on fossil fuels, and given that hemp can make the soil cleaner, it's surprising that this miracle crop isn't in wider use. When we looked into the topic, we found that hemp is already appearing in some commonplace objects, including cars, and could soon find its way into more. But there are also remaining barriers that keep hemp plastics more expensive and less versatile for now. As plastic pollutes water and land, not only are the harmful effects of global warming increasingly clear, conventional plastics linger in the environment and can even enter the food chain, having a detrimental effect on human and animal health. In one shocking recent example, researchers from the University of Tasmania and the UK's Royal Society for the Protection of Birds found 38 million pieces of plastic waste on Henderson Island, an uninhabited coral island in the South Pacific. I've traveled to some of the most far-flung islands in the world, and regardless of where I've gone, in what year, and in what area of the ocean, the story is generally the same. The beaches are littered with evidence of human activity. Jennifer Lavers, a marine scientist from the University of Tasmania, told The Guardian. The oceans are in a similar or even worse state, thanks to the risk of microplastics, or tiny fragments of plastic that pollute the waters and are often eaten by marine life. The infamous Great Pacific Garbage Patch is actually largely composed of millions of these tiny particles, as much as 1.9 million per square mile. Shit. According to a 2014 report from National Geographic. Some of the earliest plastics were made from cellulose fibers obtained from organic, non-petroleum-based sources. Hemp cellulose can be extracted and used to make cellophane, rayon, celluloid, and a range of related plastics, reported Sashada, a writer at Sensei Seeds. I need a little drink. Hang on. Oh, my throat is dry. Whew. Hemp is known to contain around 65 to 70% cellulose and is considered a good source. Wood contains around 40%, flax is 65 to 75, so about the same, and cotton up to 90%. So it's a good source, and that has particular promise due to its relative sustainability and low environmental impact. While 100% hemp-based plastic is still a rarity, some composite bioplastics, which are plastics made from a combination of hemp and other plant sources, are already in use. Thanks to their high strength and rigidity, these plastics are currently used in the construction of cars, boats, and even musical instruments. Bioplastic is promising, but it can't solve all of our pollution problems. Many plastic products are made from polymer resins, including polyethylene terephthalate or PET. You see like PET on some plastic things you buy, or no PET. Well, that PET is found in everyday products like plastic bottles. While advocates hope to someday see 100% hemp-based plastic bottles on supermarket shelves, the technology just isn't ready for prime time. The good news is that many corporations are investing heavily in researching replacements to traditional PET. It's likely the first company to produce a viable commercial product could stand to earn millions. I'd say billions. Unfortunately, even plastic that's deliberately designed to be biodegradable can still be a source of pollution. Almost nothing biodegrades in a landfill, and hemp microplastics could still cause problems when introduced into the oceans. Biodegradable plastics need to be sent to commercial composting facilities for efficient disposal, and these facilities aren't available to everyone. In addition to creating better alternatives to plastics, we still need to create more responsible attitudes toward disposable products. While fossil fuel costs are kept low with subsidies, hemp products, for the most part, remain costly luxury items. The U.S. legalized hemp in 2018 after a few years of research into hemp growing. However, decades of drug prohibition mean we're still lacking much of the infrastructure needed to grow and process hemp into plastic. Although it requires fewer pesticides and has a smaller environmental footprint than many other crops, growing and harvesting remains labor-intensive. Another drawback is that hemp requires significant fertilizer in some soils and also has a relatively high water requirement, as noted by Sashada. However, hemp prices will undoubtedly come down and technology will improve as hemp growing spreads from coast to coast. Right now, most hemp in the United States is grown for CBD, but more and more farmers are beginning to experiment with other varieties that can be more easily harvested for their fiber content. One of the most provocative examples of hemp's potential plastic future could come from Legos, the well-recognized building block toy which is promising to phase out fossil fuel-based resin by 2030. Hemp might just be the cost-effective, environmentally sustainable alternative material that Lego is looking for.
Did you say Legos?
Yeah.
Will it be softer if you fucking step on one and you don't fucking kill yourself?
Jam the right in the arch of your foot. You just want to freaking scream, but the kids are sleeping.
Will the hemp be softer so it doesn't hurt at all? Can they make it like that?
Oh, right in that soft little, like, right under the pad
worst.
of your foot. Well, anyway, so whether or not we're able to build a spaceship from hemp bricks, the full promise of hemp plastic remains tantalizing close, but it's just out of reach. So let's hope that changes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Legos.
Yeah.
Broke many of my bottom of my feet.
Or like you're picking up toys and you kneel on one.
Oh, God.
Oh, that hurts.
The worst. A group of more than 150 celebrities, athletes, politicians, law enforcement professionals, and academics signed a letter that was delivered to President Joe Biden on Tuesday, urging him to issue a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all people with nonviolent federal cannabis convictions. There's a list in a very long letter that I'm not going to read right now, but Drake, Killer Mike, Tony Lanz, Ty Dolla $ign, T.I., 2 Chainz, Baby Brash, Dame Dash, Dante Thomas, Dave East, Freeway, Gunna, Jack Boy, John Forte, Kodak Black, Little Baby, Little Yachty, Loon, Meek Mill, Russ, who else? My goodness, this is a very long list. Film and Fashion, Brad Furman, Louis Lombardi, Jeremy Meeks, Advocates, Weldon Angelos, Brittany K. Burnett, Governor Norquist. Let me see some other big names here. Business leaders, Kyle Kazin, Michael Big Mike. I can't pronounce his last name. Sorry, Stromatius. Oh, he's the CEO of that Advanced Nutrient Company. Gary Johnson, Eddie Melton, a bunch of representatives here. I mean, the fucking list goes on and on. Holy smokes. Law enforcement and criminal justice people signed it. A guy named Bill Nettles. Yeah, so academics signed this thing, and it's pretty well done. So we'll see if they can get him to do something here. And then there was another big thing. Senators flooded with input on federal cannabis legalization. This was a shit ton of cannabis activists, like NORML, Marijuana Justice Coalition, Marijuana Policy Project, National Cannabis Industry Association, U.S. Cannabis Council, Students of Sensible Drug Policy, Americans for Safe Access, American Trade Association for Cannabis and Hemp, Colorado Governor Jared Polis, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, Students for Hemp Roundtable, the Parabola Center. I mean, Smart Approaches to Cannabis. Everybody's getting in on this bill here.
Students for Hemp Roundtable.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So a ton, and like I said, it is big. I told you about that bill that Schumer and Booker wrote, and I did not like most of it, especially the taxation part and a bunch of other things in there I didn't like about it. So hopefully with all these influences coming in and flooding them with ideas, and that's the way it should be done. I believe this. All the people in government for so many years, war on drugs, DARE programs, don't do drugs, the push for that, all over the years came from the federal government. I'm sorry. It did. And for them to write these laws on their own without the cannabis community involved is absolute horseshit. And I'm sure there was some lobbyists, and I'm sure there's some people in there trying to, but I'm telling you right now, that list that I read to you, plus more should be talking right now to the federal government, and not them just putting this law together with none of us involved. The people that have loved cannabis and used cannabis and supported cannabis for centuries, for decades, should be involved in this bill. Ms. Weedman?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
I think journalists who have written about cannabis, I think people who sold it on the black market for years should be on this board. And they should be the ones fighting. People incarcerated, the 40,000 people still in jail, should be able to get out of jail and be able to help write these laws and help put stuff into place. It needs to be a group, because I'm telling you right now, they're going to fuck it up.
Groups.
Yeah, but I'm talking about they need to be a part of this bill, be in there writing the bill. It needs to be a board, a council, hundreds of people. Like the United Nations of fucking cannabis needs to be in the United Nations office with people from everywhere writing this bill together and not agreeing unless it comes to the people wrote it. The fucking people wrote the Declaration of Independence. Did they not?
Yeah, they did.
The Declaration of Cannabis needs to be written by the cannabis community.
That's Mr. Weedman, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's another one. Mayors across the U.S. push Biden and Congress to legalize cannabis with a focus on racial equity. Great. Mayors across the country should be involved. Governors should be involved. Not per state, and people need to be involved. Us podcasters out there, journalists out there, need to be involved. The ones that are giving the news, the ones that are reading the greatness of cannabis and what it does, need to be involved. Here's something funny. How do you expunge a cannabis conviction? There's a lot of misinformation about this and cannabis decriminalization in general. Americans with cannabis conviction records are actively looking for ways to clear their criminal records. The first factor that determines whether or not cannabis convictions can be expunged is the offender's state of residence. Expungement is the process of clearing or removing criminal records related to a particular offense. In this case, nonviolent cannabis charges. When a criminal record is expunged, it is sealed off and removed from public access. Sometimes it can be physically destroyed with no traces. Cannabis offenders understand how hard it is to live normal lives. It is difficult finding jobs, renting houses, or other life-changing opportunities. Expungement of these records gives them a shot at getting better jobs and living well. There will be no fear of cannabis charges being discovered by random background checks or being refused jobs based on these charges. Expungement is an act of social justice. The war on drugs failed. It created disadvantaged and marginalized communities that are still crippled by the after effects of the failed war. People of color were massively impacted and wrongly profiled as cannabis offenders. They are still paying the price for the cruel cannabis laws passed decades ago. The decriminalization of cannabis in states without expungement being made available would have been a wrong move. The best bet of having cannabis-related offenses cleared totally would be for the federal government to pass decriminalization laws for cannabis use. While this is not possible, a lot of people have to make do with the stale-level laws and allow low-level cannabis charges to reduce, set aside, sealed, or expunged. I have said this before. Even if the federal government just said this, it's decriminalized, and didn't do anything else and just left the states to handle it, I'd be fucking ecstatic. And give them 5% because that's what they want is the money. So fuck you and your 25%. So it all depends on where you live. All states have individual laws relating to cannabis decriminalization. The basis thing that all states' laws include is the expungement of nonviolent cannabis convictions. The terms for eligibility are also unique to each state. The ease and affordability of carrying out an expungement also depends on the state. For the cost of this process can be free in some states and also go as high as $1,000 in other states. The time duration also ranges from weeks to years depending on where you live. I'm not going to go through all the states, so I'm sorry. Organizations that can help. Information here. I'll give you the organizations. Information for expungement application is not always available. The best way to get informed is to connect to organizations that can help. National Expungement Weeks and Minorities for Medical Cannabis, it says marijuana, M4MM are highly related organizations that can help. I'll read it again. National Expungement Weeks and Minorities for Medical Marijuana, M4MM, are highly rated organizations that can help. These are expungement clinics that can be found in various states. These clinics offer information and legal aids to help expunge records. There are free and paid expungement clinics. That's awesome. So look them up if you need help. Cannabis-related arrests in New York City fall 95% after legalization because you can smoke in the streets, baby.
You can,
light up anywhere the fuck
anywhere.
you want. Well, I just read that
Cool.
I read in a couple episodes ago that the New York State Fair allowed cannabis smoking at the fair.
Yeah.
And it was They might not do it next year because there was more cannabis smoke than alcohol, and you couldn't see. It was one big cloud. Don't fuck it up. That was probably great for people to be able to explore and smoke cannabis at a fair for their first time. Be able to just let it. If there's kids around, don't smoke by the kids, please. I mean, come on. Be smart. Enjoy it and don't fuck it up. Okay? But for the first time, I bet people were so excited to be able to smoke and not have to hide it at a state fair. Come on. Oh my God. No wonder I was one big cloud.
Freaking corn dog in one hand and a joint in the other.
I wonder
and
which
a
one
funnel
was bigger.
cake on your lap.
Fuck, that's heaven. Heaven.
And
Heaven.
I've still never had one, but like a deep fried Butterfinger.
Oh.
I don't know. Why not?
Heaven.
Why not, right?
I died and went to the New York State Fair.
That'd be great.
Don't fuck it up. Anyway, good for you, New York. New York City.
No roller coasters.
No. I just want to eat and smoke weed and
I
walk
couldn't
around.
even imagine
Walk
being
around
high
and like look
on a roller
at
coaster.
paintings and shit like that, like art. And,
Paintings
like
at a state fair.
Well, they have like sale
What are you
like
talking
an
about?
area where they do like painters and stuff like that, and they might have like a little.
caricatures.
No.
What are you
Probably.
talking about?
Don't they have like a market area where you can
No.
walk around and buy stuff, and they have like artists there, and they have like people making
No.
clothes, and like you could buy like they don't have that at
No.
State Fair. It's been that long since I've been to a state fair.
Well, I don't know. I've only been to one.
I've been to the South
It was
Florida
like a
fair.
carnival.
Right, there is, but there's also an area where you can buy stuff. Like it's that big.
I don't know about that.
No,
I think you're confusing like a flea market
No, I'm not confusing a
on
flea
the
market.
fairground
Not a flea
with
market.
a fair.
You've taken me to art fairs before.
Yeah, that's
Right.
an art fair.
But don't
That's
they have
not
that at a state fair, like the area where they they sell stuff at?
I'm just gonna decline to answer because I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Weed
I'm
Man.
probably so wrong, but I just thought it'd be cool. They should add that for people that can go there and smoke over there.
Right.
and enjoy
Yes.
it and
Yes.
and then go get an elephant ear and a fucking
But I think
corn
a
dog
caricature would be pretty funny too.
that'd be pretty funny.
If you were
Getting one
really
done.
high,
Getting one
with
done.
a corn dog and
Yeah.
a joint. That would be a funny caricature.
Freedom! Here's another one. Cannabis-related arrests in Richmond, Virginia area fall 90% after legalization. That's fucking awesome, Virginia. All right. This is going to take a little bit, everybody, but I'm going to go through these two articles because...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this one's going to be a
We got some doozies tonight.
I do. And I've been saving...
Is everybody ready for more?
Yes. So here,
All right.
I'm going to give you some news. Michigan cannabis sales increased 52% to $165.6 million in August. Okay? And I like what they do because they show medical sales and adult use recreational sales differently. In Illinois, they never show the medical sales anymore. All they're showing is the recreational. So that's all I ever see. So here's something cool. So for rec use, adult use, $125 million. Medical, $40 million. Almost 41.1. Okay? $165 million in 1 month. They're going to do over $1 billion this year. They've been averaging great numbers. Okay? So, here's what I'm pissed off about.
Okay.
Michigan medical cannabis activists push back against alleged corporate effort to restrict home cultivation. That's what Michigan is all about. That's what cannabis was found. Home grow. When you move in that state, you can grow 12 plants once you get your Michigan license. You become a caregiver. And I've talked about being a caregiver and how great it would be.
Medical license.
Medical caregiver in Michigan.
Right.
Okay? So here's what Michigan is trying to do, and there's people fighting it, and...
That's so stupid. They're getting how much in recreational sales?
So I just gave you the sales. Yeah. I just gave you the sales overall, over $165 million, okay, that the state made in 1 month. 1 month. Medical cannabis caregiver Ryan Bringold has been involved in Michigan's grassroots efforts to legalize cannabis for years. But a larger licensed recreational medical cannabis grow facilities and provisioning centers crop up across Michigan. Caregivers like Bringold, who helped legalize cannabis, feel they are being pushed out. A small group of corporate activists want to tighten state restrictions for medical caregivers and patients. The goal, cut plant counts, require product testing, and reduce homegrown cultivation.
So stupid.
Okay?
That's just so greedy.
Yes. So I'm so proud of this Bringold. He's 49, same age as Mr. Weedman, who lives in Waterford, is organizing the Caregivers' Rights Rally, which just passed on Wednesday, okay, at the state capitol in Lansing as the legislature is back in session. Good for him. The goal of the rally is to unite caregivers and speak out against proposals to change the state's 2008 Medical Cannabis, it says Marijuana, Act provisions. He also helped coordinate a Michigan NORML presence at the 2019 Labor Day Mackinac Bridge Walk, and this year the group walked to raise awareness for caregivers' rights. We didn't pay attention, Bringold said. We watched our ability to be in the retail market fade away. We watched other restrictions, but no one was doing anything. We need to come together and protect what Michigan voters voted for, or the retail market is going to dictate the cannabis supply. As of September 1st, there are 249,870 active patients. 292 are minors, and 30,227 active caregivers, according to the State Cannabis Regulatory Agency, the MRA. The MRA is not pushing for any changes to the current caregiver program, and spokesperson David Harns declined further comment. The Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association, the MCMA, a trade group that represents some of the largest cannabis companies in Michigan, is reportedly behind the effort to tighten regulations for medical cannabis caregivers, patients and residents who grow their own cannabis. The MCMA formed in 2019 and has since removed member companies from its website. The website states the association represents nearly half of all multiple Class C cannabis licenses in Michigan. Steve Linder, who leads the organization, is a longtime Lansing-based Republican consultant and lobbyist who has targeted the unregulated supply and wants tighter industry regulations for medical caregivers. Linder declined comment for this story, but in May he told Grown in a cannabis industry newsletter, "The first law I would want to pass is a law that would start to get at a non-licensed supply out in the marketplace. It's not tested. We don't know where it's grown. We don't know who's growing it. People are not employing. They're not investing in infrastructure. They're not paying taxes. So we have to get at an unregulated supply, and the law needs to be passed. And we're going to lead the charge. The MCMA website also explains the organization wants to rein in Michigan's illicit cannabis market with the goal of promoting safety, transparency, and accountability. MCMA supports working together to end the avalanche of untested and potentially unsafe cannabis flooding that Michigan market, the website states. However, large quantities of untested illicit cannabis continue to flood the market, posing a significant threat to patients and consumer safety and circumventing rules and taxes. Linda's reported attempts to shop bills among lawmakers have created a buzz in Lansing and spread across the state's cannabis industry. Earlier this summer, activists launched an online boycott to support no changes to Michigan's caregiver laws. Hundreds of cannabis companies responded, including several businesses in Greater Lansing, by pledging support for caregivers. Cannabis retailers and consumers have boycotted MCMA members, including SkyMint, LiveWell, Common Citizen, and other brands affiliated with the group members. Calls and emails to MCMA and several corporate cannabis companies, including SkyMint Brands and LiveWell, were not returned for the story. The controversy also prompted Pleasantry CEO and founder Randy Buchanan to resign as MCMA's president. The public backlash prompted MCMA to remove contact information and individual members from the website and elect a new board chair to help with public relations, said Rick Thompson, executive director of Michigan NORML. Thompson has promoted the recent boycott online and believes Linda and MCMA are coming after caregivers and residents' cultivation rights. He's been a problem for cannabis industry for a while, Thompson said. They talked about sliming the market for quite some time, or slimming, meaning less competitive to their businesses and fewer licenses issued. But it also means attacking the unregulated market at home cultivation by patients, caregivers, and every adult in Michigan over the age of 21. Caregiver early advocates help drive cannabis legalization. Medical cannabis givers are among the early activists who spearheaded the grassroots efforts behind Michigan's voter approval Proposal 1 of 2008 and Proposal 1 of 2018 ballot initiatives. Bringold notes the former legalized medical use of cannabis a decade later and later made it legal for adults over 21 to grow, possess, and use cannabis for recreational purposes. Some of these multiple location retailers, they are now exactly what they are doing, Bringold said. They want all the monies.
Money, money, money.
We've seen it in the Coke industry and the potato chip industry and the car industry. What are they doing is shutting us down. We created the industry. None of these people were knocking on our doors doing the legwork. Where were those guys then? None of them did any of it. And yet now they are in power, positioned to eliminate me. This is our chance to keep something of what we helped create. Caregivers say the lobbying efforts come down to lack of understanding and greed. 100%. Corporate cannabis companies want to push the little guy out, using straw man arguments around safety and surplus product and fuels a black market, Bringold said. For the licensing process to become a retail medicinal cannabis facility, you had to show $1 million of assets obtained legally over time. That right puts most of the caregivers in the state of Michigan out of the loop, Bringold said. We are just regular folks with 9-to-5 jobs. I love that. And they have a side gig, a side hustle where they get to sell cannabis on the side. Fuck you, corporate cannabis. Fuck you. That is American rights to be able to build your own business in your own home and work out of your own home. Bringold has watched the law's language change. Larger grow facility, dispensaries, and medical cannabis provision centers open shop. Initially, caregivers were allowed to supply dispensaries as they got up and running. But now they are excluded from the retail marketplace because they grow better weed than all you corpo cannabis guys out there. Home growers and caregivers in Michigan grow better weed than you, and you know it would sell better, and you're pissed off about it. And you don't want them to get any of that $165 million you made last month. I'm pissed. In addition, the Medical Cannabis Facility Licensing Act required grower and processor facility license to have at least 2 years' experience as a caregiver or employ someone with caregiver experience. The rule ends on December 31st. Caregivers say they're in it to help people. Cliff and Bonnie Demos, caregivers in northern Michigan, Lake County, moved to Michigan from Wisconsin to treat Bonnie's health conditions after medical cannabis became legal. They grow outdoors. The way nature intended. And Cliff Demos argues homegrown cannabis is safer than cannabis cultivated in large indoor grow facility. 100% I agree with Cliff. Cliff Demos, 75, said that corporate grows are in it for the money. They are not in it to see people get healed or see people be relieved from pain. They are not mindful of Michigan's climate or growing seasons, but rather they are trying to fast grow plants for money, he said. Demos plans to attend the rally and said the caregiver model works. Many caregivers and patients have established relationships over the last decade, said the Demoses. Work with patients to improve their health. They've developed different delivery methods, including bombs, oils, cannabis-infused foods. When they get patients that are usually sick, and it's up to us to help them any way we can, Demos said. We are able to help them and make things better for them. It's just plain flat out works. All I know is that we do what we do to take care of people, treat them with respect, and give them the help, give them what they need, and help them. These tighter regulations could jeopardize patient-caregiver relationships statewide, even threaten the entire program, Bringold said. This MCMA wants testing to crack down on the illicit supply. Caregivers, corporate grows can coexist, like I just said, with that money. You're already making $150 to $170 million a month. Let the caregivers make some money, okay? Not everybody can become a caregiver. Not everybody can do and grow weed, but they can also purchase it from a person they trust, they know, and get great quality cannabis. That's me saying that. So all you people out there in Michigan that voted for it back in 2008 and in 2018, and people who fought for these rights, do not let the government and corporations changing on you. It is a huge deal that you have this, and you have to fight for it. You have to go for it, and you cannot stop until you're done with it. Okay? Win the case. Do not let them lower your counts. Do not let them change the laws on you. They should be helping you grow the laws and make it better for you, not the corporate cannabis guys. Okay? City council stalls mayoral plan to relax cannabis zoning restrictions, shrink downtown exclusive zone. That's in Illinois. Besides 420, what is the other greatest stoner holidays out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Okay, I've got a stoner holiday article here, but Mr. Weedman brought on some heavy amounts of information tonight, so I'm going to just zip through these holidays, and you can elaborate with your research. You know, you can just pop the date in Google and see what comes up about it. But believe it or not, there are actually 6 cannabis holidays that you should have on your calendar. If you work in the cannabis industry or just love a good excuse to smoke, you know one weed holiday a year is far too little for an herb that is so important to so many. 1 in 3 Americans live in a state where cannabis is legal now, and cannabis and CBD are being used to aid with symptoms of epilepsy, cancer, autoimmune disorders, and many other conditions around the country. You can even get a college degree in cannabis, so why not celebrate it year-round? Good news, you can. Yay. Though less well known, there are 5 other cannabis holidays besides 420, April 20th, that are celebrated around the country. And the best part, cannabis businesses will often offer product discounts on these days. So put them on your calendar. We have, of course, 420, April 20th. It is the stoner holiday of stoner holidays, right? So there's a couple others. And we can start with, how about June 18th? So you've got 420, the stoner holiday. You can look it up. There's some theories.
The greatest holiday of the year.
It's probably it is the most celebrated stoner holiday of the year. And people have festivities going on all over the place. The next one would be June 18th again. And that is Jack Herrera's birthday. So he is the titan of cannabis history. So look him up if you don't know about him. He was quite the advocate for cannabis laws and legalizing cannabis in California. The next one would be July 10th, and that is the National Dab Day, Oil and Concentrate Day. So July 10th, 7/10, turn it upside down, and you've got the word OIL. So there's the background on that one. And August 8th is
my birthday.
Mr. Weedman's birthday.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen. But it's actually National CBD Day.
Boo.
Nah, it's all good. We can celebrate Mr. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman's
and
birthday.
take in some CBD of some
Lots of
ointment or
CBD.
capsules or whatever.
All of it. Smoke it.
Not to be overlooked, it is a day of celebration for the non-intoxicating anti-inflammatory cannabis compound CBD. So that's August 8th. Then you have October 5th, and that is for the commemoration of the victims of Prohibition. So the two most famous would be on October 5th of 1937, Samuel R. Caldwell and Moses Baca were arrested at the Lexington Hotel in Denver, Colorado on cannabis-related charges. So these were the first people to be arrested after the Marijuana Tax Stamp Act
They should
was
be
passed
expunged.
in Congress.
That should be expunged.
Yeah.
Colorado's been.
So you can look that up.
Colorado's been legal way too long. They should be expunged.
Yeah. Then we have November 6th, which is Legalization Day. It is the Cannabis Community Independence Day, as you might have it. And that's it. So you got 6 times. So every other month you can celebrate cannabis and celebrate a
CBD.
cannabis event. Super cool.
Celebrate it all.
Bear in mind that many businesses offer discounts for celebrity stoner birthdays. So if you can't name what day Snoop Dogg graced us with his presence in the world, you might want to fix that. Know your cannabis holidays. So get that shit in your calendar, people.
Yeah, you're going to be tested next week, Mrs. Weeman.
I'm going to be tested. I don't like tests.
Know your stoner holidays.
Oh, yeah, I'll remember them. Maybe.
International news. Thailand set special loans for cannabis farmers. Good for Thailand. I want to smoke some Thai sticks. Someone mail me some.
I want to go to Thailand and pet an elephant.
And smoke some Thai sticks.
Do some yoga.
It's your turn again.
I'm speaking again.
Yeah. I spoke a lot
Rolling
tonight.
papers. What, isn't there a song about rolling papers?
Yeah.
Yeah, sing it.
No. One of my favorite songs is Rolling Papers. One of my
yeah,
favorite songs is
right?
Rolling Papers 2.
Yeah.
Wiz Khalifa, baby.
Yeah.
That he's
right.
fucking
All right.
great.
So, for
So
any of
what,
you
we
people
smoke
that
weed?
like to smoke your CBD or your cannabis with THC, you might know a little something or want to know a little something about what makes a rolling paper good, right? So, we have the best rolling papers of 2021, and this could upgrade your smoking experience. If you're a smoker of cannabis, rolling papers are an essential part of the smoking ritual. They're a traditional alternative to creating your own joint as opposed to buying pre-rolls packaged by someone else and possibly containing chemicals. But since these papers are ultimately being ingested into your body, it only makes sense that you'd want to invest in the best of the best, right? Usually, learning about rolling papers is a trial and error process since there are so many options available on the market. While there are several reputable brands, we're going to introduce to you we're going to introduce several reputable brands to you, and that will help you narrow some factors down to make the right decision. So first, what size are you going to need? Well, those who require more frequent smoke breaks or only a few puffs at a time will enjoy regularly sized papers, while heavier smokers might prefer king-size papers. There are also slim versions of most papers, which allow you to inhale less smoking material but require a little more experience to roll. While most papers are bleached, there are plenty of unbleached papers for sale as well. Common ingredients include hemp, wood pulp, flax, and rice straw, each of which has a different texture. I didn't know all of that. Rice is, I guess we've had like different types of paper, but I didn't realize that there was rice paper. That's cool. Rice is thin, but ideal for larger joints, while hemp and other materials are slightly thicker. The ideal rolling paper will burn slowly and evenly with minimal ash. This guide will help you decide which papers are perfect for you. So their first recommendation is made by Raw. They're probably the most recognizable. Well, Zigzag is probably more recognizable. But Raw, they make really nice product, reputable product. You can find it pretty much anywhere. Theirs is called the Unrefined Classic Rolling Papers. You can buy 100% natural raw papers in single size, king size, and pre-rolled cones, and they have cones with filters, all made in Spain. Your lungs will thank you with the raw's unbleached and additive-free rice paper, which is a lighter and healthier alternative to cellulose. Beside being free of whitening agents like chlorine, rice papers also have a slower burn time and a more satisfying inhale. Overall, most smokers unanimously agree that these papers smoke the best, at least according to their cult-like following.
Yeah, so just this is in our list.
Yeah, this is the article.
Yes.
This is the article, not our recommendations. The second recommendation is Element, and ironically, it's pretty much the same description. It's the same company, Raw, and creates Elements as well. But they're very popular in Europe, and they're an ideal buy because they have a magnetic closure on their package, so the papers don't dry out. So they maintain freshness.
Those are rice papers, right?
Yeah, they're rice. They're made in Spain. Same thing. Next one would be Juicy J flavored papers.
I like Juicy J's.
And we've smoked we've talked about some other products, papers on the show before that are flavored. And it is kind of fun because it just throws a little curveball at you when you're smoking.
We did a King Palm's watermelon one the other day.
Yeah. So looking to infuse some flavor, then you'll adore the many tasty options that JJ has to offer, such as sour apple, grape, and watermelon. Many people enjoy blueberry, which is dotted with little blueberries and offers a smooth berry-flavored hit and smell. Unlike other flavored papers, this one is made with natural sugar gum, so you don't have to worry about artificial flavors. Then you have Zigzag. They come in at 4. I'm surprised. But they make a French orange.
Legendary.
French orange?
Just the packaging.
Yeah, just their packaging.
The legendary.
But the packaging on this one and the description sounds pretty amazing. French orange rolling papers. Sold in their famous orange packaging, Zigzags are one of the most classic old-school choices for smokers of cannabis and tobacco. Even your local gas station carries this well-known smoking accessory. After all, the brand has been around since the late 1800s. If you're old school or like to stick to the classics, you'll probably enjoy Zigzags. Made out of wood pulp and flax, they're a consistent choice every time. Then you have Blazy Susans, which we actually just picked up some and we talked about on the show a couple weeks ago. We picked their papers up. Their papers are known as being Instagram worthy. They're pale pink. They're cute. They also offer an undyed version with an equally excellent burn. They make different sizes, but their biggest feature is that they are very slim. They can be a little tough for a newbie to roll, but once you figure it out, they're pretty good. Then you have OCB. Number 6 is OCB Organic Hemp Papers. The organic hemp papers have your health in mind and are completely unbleached. One buyer loves that the texture of the paper isn't slippery like rice paper might be, and it makes it a little easier to roll up and it burns evenly, stopping your joint from canoeing. Remember, we talked about canoeing when your joint like half lights and you've got like a big ditch in your joint.
The worst.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like, oh, you just watch all that extra weed go to waste. It's sad. Yep. Hemp paper also rips less easily than rice paper, so that frustrating little stem doesn't pop through and ruin your entire joint. Then you've got for your bougie people. You like that? You bougie people. I can be a little bougie sometimes. I think we all have a little bougie in us. Anyway, for all of us in our bougie moments, you can get Shine 24 karat gold papers. They come in a 2-pack. The gold papers smoke nicely, but they're a little overpriced since, of course, you're burning them, right? But again, if you're bougie, do it. Why not? They're a fantastic gift or a special occasion purchase if you have something to celebrate. They're considered to be a bit of a novelty, but once you smoke them, you won't be able to deny how well the hit goes down with a smooth, cough-free exhale. And then we have Bob Marley hemp papers. Their quality is really good. I guess the bonus with them is their adhesive glue is really good. A lot of people complain about the adhesion of their papers, but this one is really well known for their glue and good thickness. perfect, it says. Top contender, and you shouldn't miss out on them. And then we go back to the raw. Number 9 comes in at the raw, but with a filter. So again, you can just get the paper, you can get a cone, you can get a cone with a filter. And this one, number 10, is my recommendation because our friend Nick, Juliet Nick, popped on his Instagram today with these super cool, like amazingly packaged rolling papers. So they were made by Choice Blooms Organic Hemp rolling papers. Choice Blooms is the brand. Super, super groovy, cool, like moody, vibey packaging. Super great. And papers look really pretty. And they are not only aesthetically pleasing, but the packaging is beautiful. And they're made out of hemp, highest quality hemp. And they use soy-based inks for everything they do. And again, they call themselves a sunset vibe.
Ooh.
So that is my recommendation.
So that was your
Thanks,
10,
Nick.
your top 10?
That's 10.
I'm going to add an 11.
Yeah? What? Oh, yeah. Those are good.
I'm going to add the 11 because he's a friend of the show. He sent us a box to try, and we plugged him before, and I'm going to give him a plug. And he's number 11 to me. Crop Kings.
I agree.
Unbelievable. Organic hemp wraps. Flavored. You fill them, you peel them, and you seal them.
Yeah, they've got glue, like a little sticky glue on them.
Organic hemp. Won't
Super
dry
easy.
out. Slow burning. Natural flavor. American grown.
It's like thick. So it was kind of like a cigar wrapper.
Oh, my gosh. It's amazing. And
like
all the
those.
flavors that he has, we've talked about before. Brass Monkey.
And that's a startup company. He's newer to the market.
Scissor Up was my favorite. That was Dog Boy's favorite, too. And then there's Jungle Juice. And then there is Homegrown, which is just a plain one. And then there's Irish Cream. And I know he was supposed to be making some cones. I haven't talked to him yet about it, but I'd love to get cones so I can not have Dov Boy come over here and roll this for me because Dov Boy rolls them perfect. But Crop Kings, I'm giving
That's
you
your
number
pick.
11. That's
Okay.
the Weed Man 420 pick
That works.
of the week. So shout out to our friend Blair. Great job, Mrs. Weed Man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. College is back in session. College is back in session. And we have some friendly stoner burner pothead colleges, the top of the list.
Yeah, I was surprised by this. So tell me.
So-
tell me.
And this is an
I'm
article.
perplexed.
This is an article from our friends at Celeb Stoner Entertainment News with a Twist. So I'm going to read this. And every August, the Princeton Review releases its survey of the best 382 colleges in America. Among the many categories is what they call reefer madness schools, which essentially means campuses with a strong affinity to cannabis. Northeast schools dominate the 2020 list with 14 schools, and Skidmore College returning to the top for the first time since 2014. Due to the students not being on campus in 2020, the first wave of COVID-19, the Princeton's review did not include Reefer Madness list in 2021 survey. This list is now for 2020 and 2021. You ready? Drum roll, please, Mrs. Weedman. Ding. Skidmore College, Saratoga Springs, New York. It's number 1. Pitzer College, Claremont, California, number 2.
Woo.
Wesleyan University, Middletown, Connecticut. Wow. Reed College, Portland, Oregon.
Woohoo.
University of Rhode Island, Kingston, Rhode Island.
Yay.
University of Maine,
Yes.
Monroe, Maine. University of Vermont,
Go Vermont.
Warren Wilson College.
Woo.
Sarah Lawrence College.
Hip hip hooray.
Sunny Purchase.
Yes.
Emerson College.
Uh-huh.
Eckerd College.
Yeah.
Goucher College.
I'm running out of stuff here.
UC Santa Barbara.
Woo.
Syracuse University.
Yeah.
Ithaca College.
Mm-hmm.
Clark University.
Yeah.
Colby College.
Woo.
St. Lawrence University.
Yippee.
Hamilton College.
Hooray.
And that concludes the top 20
Woo.
of stoner, burner, pothead, reefer, madness colleges around the United States. Yay for you on making the top 20. Thanks, Celeb Stoner, for letting us borrow this article. So, hey, everybody. It was a deep show for me. Got a lot of education. Some fired up about Michigan. I'm praying for you, Michigan, out there to do the right thing. For all you caregivers out there and people at home grow, fight for your right to grow. Fight to free the plant. Fight for your right to grow. Fight to free the plant. We love you all out there, everybody. Mr. Weeman, you got anything else to say?
I need a snack.
You also got to pee, don't you?
I got to pee so bad. Can we end the show already? Oh, my gosh.
We're going to end the show. Everybody, I love you all.
Love you all.
Don't forget, Weedman 420 Chronicles on Instagram. Weedman 420 Pod on Twitter. Weedman 420 Chronicles at gmail.com. Thank you, Paula, for another great, fun email I read.
Y'all come back now. You hear? What was that from?
Oh, my God.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, yeah. But Dolly Parton said it, too, on her movie. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Y'all come back now, you hear?
That's right. We love you all. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.